Everybody, welcome back to the Cow's channel for A Cow's Opinion, where I, the Cow, will go over the latest and the greatest and the most interesting stuff that is happening in the world of video games. As we mute this tab so you don't get your ears blown out by a commercial. I see them sneaking down there. And give you my opinion. And don't worry about anything frustrating, because an unusual episode of the Cow's Opinion today, because yesterday, hundreds of you, which is really good for me and my dinky little channel, looked up at my video about Hasbro wanting the old Transformer games to release, but that Activision had lost them. So, there will be a link in the description to yesterday's episode if you have not seen that. To give you a little TLDR, the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron was some really gay... I'm right off of work. It was a hard day, so I'm already screwing up and flubbing. But they were really great games released in June of 2010 and the fall, I believe, of 2012. And they were fantastic games. I talked about how much I love them. Lots of people commented how they loved them. And then Hasbro, the point of the article, had been saying July 28th. Now let's remember that day because the update's a little confusing. That they had started a new line of video game action figures of Transformer characters inspired by their designs. But they were asked, what is the possibility of getting these very popular games? And they were told no. Their quote was this: sadly, apparently Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in their building. When a company eats a company that eats a company, things get lost, and that's very frustrating. And we went on to talk about how, one of the things that they were hoping is that now that Microsoft has bought Activision Blizzard now, it's all but done deal. They just have to work with the CMA, and that's certainly going to happen based on what I can tell. And they were hoping that stuff would be easy choices for Game Pass, re-releases on things like Steam, all kinds of good stuff for people to see. And even how they had to get a copy of the game that they owned and rip the designs off over a weekend so they could make sure that the figures that they were producing were accurate to the ones in-game. Now, Activision Blizzard has done a lot of stuff that's poor over the last few years. So yeah, losing beloved games is not something that anyone really questioned. However, as of today, Lulu Chang Musavi, Activision CCO and Executive VP of Corporate Affairs, tweeted that the publisher had always had the code for the Transformer games and that it is not lost. Literally right here, here's a tweet. These headlines are wrong. We have the code. It's not lost and never was. Also, yesterday, August 1st, Stefan Tortillo from Axios from Activision got a response, from Activision about a Hasbro comment to clarify comments that suggest Transformer games have been lost were made in error. We apologize to Activision and regret any confusion. They've been great partners, and we look forward to future opportunities to work together. Now, it feels like that should be it, right? Oh, the games weren't actually lost. Cool. And Hasbro accidentally made a mistake. If you play Dungeons & Dragons, you know that Hasbro has also made a lot of questionable choices over the last couple of years. And passing the blame as to why games were not been released, not necessarily the worst thing. However, the update points out some interesting questions. First of all, Activision waited kind of a long time. The 28th was last Friday, and then it wasn't until today and late yesterday. You see, this was 5:15 Eastern Standard Time, pretty much the end of a business day. And even then, the article originally came out on Friday. There was no comment over the weekend. There was no comment at all on Monday. And then there was almost no comment on Tuesday. That's a long time to not make a comment. And they didn't have any explanations to why, if the games haven't been lost, Hasbro didn't have access to assets and key information to make their figures. And most importantly of all, I want to really get this part down. Activision has yet to confirm if it actually knows where the source code for the games is specifically located. Now, that seems counterproductive, but think about the tweet and what the article is pointing out. The article is saying Activision has yet to confirm if it knows where the source code for the games is specifically located. The EVP here is just saying, we have the code, it's not lost and never was. That may be the equivalent of me saying, I know where my Christmas decorations are, they're in the garage. I can't tell you what specific box they're in, or what condition they're in, or if I'm going to want to use them when I find them, but I know if I put in enough time and effort, I could go get them. Is that what Activision is trying to pull? And they were just like talking to Hasbro and like, hey, guys, come on. Don't be this. Look, we'll get you the code if you really want it. The article also points out that it's strange that Hasbro, which says it wants to put these games on Game Pass, hasn't done so for years now. If the games aren't lost, give them to Hasbro. Now, I kind of know why Hasbro hasn't put them on Game Pass yet. Contracts are weird sometimes when a video game developer makes it off of a property that somebody else owns. So Hasbro may have needed Activision to help them put these games out because of their contract when the games were made. And Activision may have just said, yeah, we're not interested in doing that for a variety of reasons, up to and including the multiplayer was fun and people may want to play multiplayer. And Activision might be like, we really don't want to put up multiplayer servers for decade-old games that may or may not have more than a couple of dozen people trying to play online at any given time. Again, that part is 100% speculating. I don't know who is right between Activision and Hasbro right now. But it's very interesting because she just says we have the code, it's not lost, never was. Which again, we have the code. Hasbro admitted that while they said lost, it's a great headline, but they don't know where it is within their archives. It's not lost. Again, Hasbro didn't say it's lost forever and it'll never be obtained. Just like, no, they don't know where it is. They have it in a room with a bunch of other hard drive stuff. Never was. This is very confusing. I kind of hope we get a third update on this, man. I don't know who... That's what I want the comments down there to be. Tell me, who do you think is more right? Is Hasbro just like... We talked about this yesterday. Hasbro may just be gently nudging Activision. Like, hey, we're going to release action figures on these lines now. It would sure be great if people could also buy and play the games so that they're more likely to buy and collect the action figures. We looked at them. They actually looked pretty cool. I liked them. Or is Activision right? It's like, no, we know exactly where this is. Hasbro's just, we don't know what they're talking about, guys. We didn't lose your beloved Transformer games. Right now, I am slightly leaning more towards Hasbro. Because Hasbro really seems to want this. And Activision clearly just like, oh, we have the code. Can you produce it? Do you have it in a sense that it's in your hands right now, Miss EVP? Well, that's not fair to her. For all I know, she's the person that Activision's like, hey, go put out this fire. But can Activision please tell me, do you have it in your hands? Can you tell me exactly where in your archives it's located? Or is it like, well, we know we have it. We haven't lost it or destroyed it. We just have to, we haven't taken the time to go get it. I feel like that's more likely. And Activision, no, totally. Because a lot of people have been talking about, I would love to play the Transformer games for you on my channel. I think they'd be really cool and really fun for us to do together. Maybe, and if that's what happens from all of this, they get re-released next year. I wouldn't re-release them now because it takes time. And also, you don't want to re-release these games during the holiday season. They're going to have some pretty big releases. Spring and early summer are good times for this kind of thing. So I hope that's what happens. But guys, let me know down below, who do you think is right? Is it Activision? Is it Hasbro? Or are they both just big corporations trying to push the blame as to why you can no longer play some really cool games off onto each other because they don't want to deal with the hate that the corporate leadership decided to make bad decisions and now is getting caught out on them? Let me know, and like, comment, and subscribe. You guys, play more games. Hopefully, we can play these Transformer games because games are awesome and we all deserve awesome. It's 104 degrees in Texas right now. I'm going to keep putting that out until the damn heat wave is over. Guys, have a good one.